Alright guys, so we're getting ready to put this accessory plate back on, and there's a few things to keep in mind and to be aware of. The repair manual has pretty good information on it. It is a little tricky. You have to think about it for a little while. So the repair manual has this chart here, and it tells you what bolts go where. As you can see, I marked a couple here. I know these are for the alternator, and those bolts are on the alternator right now. And there's a few other options for the bolts that go on this plate. One of them is noticeably bigger than the other ones. That's a 12mm diameter one with a torque at 54 foot-pounds. And then we have this little diagram that tells you sort of where they go. You can see that F and E are the alternator, and then we have the D, which is that bigger one. We have B and B, which are the two smaller ones. You can see because they are only 30 millimeters in length. And then we have 3 A's and 1 C, and you can sort of tell. As I said, the ones on the alternator are already on the alternator. These are the 2 B's, and then this bigger one is the D, and then we have C. This is a C. This one goes over by, I'll show you where it goes in a minute. And then we have 3 A's. So we have, if you were to dry fit them on the plate, you got C right here, you have D, you have B and B, and then you have A, and A. And this is for the bracket that holds the AC compressor, and I'll get that later. But that doesn't hold onto the plate. These ones that I just put on here are the bolts that hold the plate onto the engine. These two are for the alternator. That's for the AC bracket, as I mentioned. And so B and B, C, A, D. So just FYI there. Don't get confused. They're all a little bit different. You can kind of tell. You can keep track by looking at the symbol. They're all A's, for example, are the same with that little symbol on the bolt, on the bolt. But the C has a 7 on it, and I'm not 100% sure what that means. I don't know if that's probably the strength of the bolt and everything. But this one has lower torque spec, so it's probably weaker than these guys. I'm not sure. I'm not a bolt expert, but just keep really good track of it. Put them in a separate spot where when it's time to put everything back on, you can sort of figure out where things go. The repair manual has the information on there. It's a little bit not too easy to follow. You have to think about it for a little while, but the information is there. Hopefully this video, this illustration will help you understand where things go. But ultimately, you just have to keep track of everything on your own. So we're just gonna keep going. I'm gonna remove these guys. I'm gonna do a dry fit of the plate on the engine, just so we can take a look at that. So I did disconnect the crank sensor from up here so I can have it below, just so it can be out of the way. And this guy just goes just gotta be careful with it, be patient. And that's where it goes. frame sensor. It's got these little holders for the crank sensor wiring. We'll set that up a little bit later. That's how it'll end up. And then it's just a matter of starting to bolt stuff on there. So. Everything hand tighten first. Don't start going in there with the impact right off the bat. Sometimes if it's not grabbing on, you got to wiggle things around until it grabs a little bit of thread. Then you're good to go. Don't go all the way, so you can follow the same technique with the other ones. So now that everything is at least caught on some thread, now you can go all the way finger tight. And that's what I do. You can now at this point you can lightly use your impact and just go in there without fully tightening them. Now remember, this plate is not, it's part of the cover. Section of it is keeping dust and debris from getting into the timing belt. But it's, other than that, it's just, it's an accessory plate, which means it's holding other things. So it's got to be very secure, very sturdy. So you have to make sure you tighten all these bolts to specifications. All right, so I got my torque wrench. So we're gonna start with the A. We're gonna start with the A bolts. And I don't know if when they designed these engines, or the engineers, I don't know if they label them A, B, C, D in that order, so that that's the way you start torquing it. I'm not sure if I should torque the A's first and then the B's, then D. You know, I'm not sure, but it seems to me like I'll start with the A's, not only because of that, but also because it's more towards the center. 30 foot-pounds. And C. So bolt C is 33 foot-pounds. Okay. And D is 54, and this torque wrench goes up to 75, but I'm going to use my bigger one just so it could be a little bit easier. Alright, so this is a 17? 17. So bolt D is 17 millimeters. Okay, and then both B's over here. Those are 30 foot-pounds.